Welcome back, Ghost Dreamers. Today, we're diving into Vicious 2025, a chilling psychological horror. Before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more spine-tingling recaps. All right, turn down the lights. It's time to meet Vicious. The movie begins with a woman named Polly arriving home. As she enters, she listens to several voicemails, showing that she's been ignoring calls from her mom and friends. Feeling tense, she pours herself a drink, then practices for a job interview. Just then, the doorbell rings. Polly opens the door to find an elderly woman standing outside, looking lost. The woman says she knew someone who used to live there. Thinking she means her neighbor, Mrs. Trott, Polly explains that Mrs. Trott lives next door. The old woman nods and says a cab dropped her off, but she seems confused and is shivering from the cold. Out of concern, Polly invites her inside. Once inside, the old woman asks for a glass of water, and also the woman is missing a few fingers. Then Polly brings her a glass of water and asks if she has a phone to call someone. The old woman says she doesn't know how to use phones anymore, but has her son's number. Polly tells her to relax for a bit first. The old woman begins asking personal questions about Polly's life, whether she's married and if the house is hers. Polly answers politely, explaining that she is not married and the house actually belongs to her sister, Lainey, and husband. They moved across town for a bigger yard for their little girl, Ally, and now rent this house to her. After a short silence, the old woman suddenly says, "I'm gonna start now." She opens a small box, pulls out an hourglass, and tells Polly the box now belongs to her. Then she says that Polly is going to die. Confused, Polly asks what she means. The woman replies that Polly can be sad or scared, but it won't change the truth. She will die tonight. Terrified, Polly tells her to leave and says she will call the police. The woman warns, "Don't you dare. You can't do that. Don't tell anyone." Polly quickly puts the hourglass back in the box and escorts the woman outside. As Polly leaves, the woman calls Polly by name. Polly asks how she knows her name. The woman replies, "I thought it was a nightmare, but I didn't wake up. You won't wake up either." Polly shuts and locks the door, trying to ignore her. After a while, Polly looks out the window and sees the box lying in the street. She calls her mom and tells her everything that happened. Still on the phone, Polly steps outside, walks to the box, and lightly kicks it with her foot. Her mom suggests it might be something related to a cult, then quickly changes the topic, asking if Polly is ready for her interview tomorrow and what she's planning to wear. Polly says she'll try on a few outfits and send some pictures, then goes back inside. Later, Polly tries on some clothes and sends pictures to her mom. As she scrolls through the photos on her phone, we can see a woman's reflection in the mirror behind her. Suddenly, a ghostly woman appears and whispers Polly's name, making her jump in fear. She rushes downstairs and lights a cigarette to calm herself. Her phone buzzes. It's her mom calling. Polly tells her that she heard her mom's voice upstairs and even smelled her perfume in her room. Her mom tries to calm her down and asks if she's chosen an outfit yet. Still shaken, Polly goes back upstairs, but finds nothing. She sits on the couch as her mom says she's heading to bed. Just then, Polly notices the box sitting right in front of her. Terrified, she tells her mom that the box is inside the house. Her mom suggests that maybe Polly brought it in without realizing. Polly insists that she didn't bring the box inside. She opens it, takes the hourglass, and tells her mom that the sand isn't falling. Her mom calmly replies, "That's because you haven't started it yet." Confused and uneasy, Polly asks how her mom even knew about the hourglass. She never mentioned it. That's when her mother's voice changes. She starts laughing manically and says, "I'm not your mom, Polly, and you're going to die tonight." Horrified, Polly immediately hangs up the call. At that moment, the doorbell rings, followed by loud pounding on the door. Terrified, Polly freezes. Her phone rings again. It's her mom calling back. But this time, the voice on the other end sounds different, colder. The voice says, "We know everything about you, Polly, and you're going to die unless." Polly asks, "Unless what?" The voice replied, "Look at the box," saying 3 things must go inside. Something you hate, something you need, and something you love. Polly says she doesn't understand, but the voice warns, "You'd better learn. Time is watching you. What goes inside, only you decide, and will know when you lie." Then, the call cuts off, leaving Polly in stunned silence. Later that night, Polly sat staring at the box. Then she lit a cigarette, trying to calm her nerves. After finishing it, she picked up the cigarette pack, muttering that it was something she hated, and placed it inside the box. Then she closed the lid. After a moment, she opened the box again, hoping for some kind of change, but nothing happened. Disappointed and uneasy, she stood up to leave. Suddenly, the sand in the hourglass began to fall on its own. Suddenly, Polly started choking, coughing violently. She gasped for air, and then a small key slipped out of her mouth and clattered onto the floor. Terrified, Polly pushed it away. In the next scene, Polly knocks on her neighbor's door, panicked and out of breath. A woman answers. Polly explains that her phone isn't working and she needs to call the police. The woman, already on a call, asks what's wrong. Polly begs to use her phone and asks if she can come in. Moments later, Polly is in the woman's house while the woman continues talking to her husband over the phone. Polly keeps insisting she needs to call the police, but the woman doesn't hang up. Suddenly, the woman takes another call. She then looks at Polly and says, "The police just called." Polly, confused, asks, "What did they say?" The woman doesn't answer right away. Slowly, she picks up a kitchen knife from the counter and whispers, "Look what you made me do." She presses the blade against her cheek. Polly screams as the woman murmurs, "We are everywhere," and slits her own throat, smiling eerily as she collapses. Polly stands frozen, horrified. As she steps closer, she notices words scratched across the woman's chest. "Don't you dare." The scene shifts to Polly back at her house, frantically scrubbing the blood off her hands. She checks her phone, but it's still dead. Then she notices the hourglass. The sand is running out. Panicking, Polly shoves the box and the hourglass off the table, but moments later, they're both back in the exact same place, untouched. Then her phone rings. It's her father, who is already dead. Terrified, Polly answers. Her father's familiar voice says hello, but shaking, Polly says, "You're not him. I did what you said. I put them in the box." The voice on the line turns cold. "You were told to put something you hate, not something you're supposed to. We'll know when you lie." Polly stands frozen as the voice continues. "You're wasting time, Polly. Tell me, what did you hate, believe in, and lose the day your father died?" Then Polly picks up the key and unlocks a drawer inside her closet. Inside, she finds a few old photographs of her father. As she looks through them, the closet door slowly creaks shut on its own. One photo catches her eye, her father lying weak in a hospital bed, wearing a cross pendant. Polly glances down and sees that same pendant inside the drawer. Suddenly, the lights start flickering. So Polly tries to leave, but the closet door won't open. Then, a cold hand touches her shoulder. She spins around. No one's there. Panicking, she moves the clothes aside, checking if someone else is inside. But the closet is empty until her father's ghost suddenly appears behind her. The door bursts open and Polly falls back as the ghost vanishes, only to crawl out from under the bed and grab her. Polly screams and fights to break free. When she finally does, she looks under the bed, but it's empty again. Shaking, Polly stares down at the cross pendant in her hand and whispers, "You let him suffer and die. We prayed to you every day." Her voice turns cold. "I hate you." Then Polly drops the cross into the box and shuts the lid. Moments later, she opens it again. The pendant is gone. The hourglass resets, and the sand begins to fall once more. Just then, Polly hears a faint woman's voice. She freezes and looks around, but no one is there. Slowly, her eyes turn toward the mirror. As she steps closer, she notices something strange. Her reflection isn't matching her movements. Suddenly, the reflection with a pair of scissors begins slamming them against the glass, screaming, "You are dead!" The reflection then violently smashes its own head into the glass. Polly stumbles back, only to realize the scissors are now in her own hand. From behind her, another version of Polly appears, lets out a blood-curdling scream, and then vanishes. Suddenly, Polly's phone rings. It's her sister, Lainey. Lainey sounds worried, saying she's been trying to reach Polly for the past 20 minutes. Still shaken, Polly asks nervously, "How do I know it's really you?" Lainey, confused, replies that Polly called her earlier, a little after 10, even though she'd told her not to call the home phone so late. She says Polly sounded scared and said something might happen to Ally. Polly freezes, terrified. "Lainey, I didn't call you," she insists. Lainey then suddenly says she can see Polly's car parked outside her house. Panicking, Polly pleads, "That's not me! Don't let her in!" But before Lainey can answer, the call disconnects. Polly rushes to the front door, fumbling with the lock, but it clicks shut on its own. She tries again and again, but each time the door locks itself. The windows won't open either. Desperate, she grabs a chair and hurls it at the window, but it doesn't even crack. Desperate, Polly grabs the box and screams, "What do you want from me?" Suddenly, the TV flickers on by itself. A tape begins to play. It's footage of Polly with her little niece, Ally. But now, Ally's face on the screen is covered in blood. Horrified, Polly rushes to turn off the TV, but it won't stop. Even after she unplugs it, the video keeps playing. Then Polly realizes the awful truth. The tape is giving her a clue. It's asking her to cut off her toe. Terrified that something will happen to Ally, she forces herself to do it. Trembling, Polly chops off her toe, screaming in agony. She drops the toe into the box, whispering, "Something I need." Instantly, the TV switches off. Polly rushes for the first aid kit, wrapping her bleeding foot in a bandage, crying through the pain. Suddenly, her mother's ghost appears beside her and says coldly, "Quit your crying," and the ghost vanishes. Panicked, Polly opens the box again, but her toe is still there. She pleads, "Please, take it. Just then, the TV flickers back on, showing Ally again. Desperate, Polly brings the box to the mirror and begs her reflection, "Tell me what to do. Please don't hurt Ally. I'll do anything." Her reflection lifts its hand, hinting she must cut off her finger. Seeing the sand almost gone, Polly panics, realizing she's out of time. Polly picks up the scissors. With no other choice, she screams in pain as she slices off her finger and drops it into the box. As soon as she closes the lid, every light in the house goes out. Gasping, she rips a piece of her shirt to tie around her bleeding hand. When she opens the box again, the finger is gone, and the hourglass resets once more. Just then, the front door creaks open. Polly runs to her sister's house and knocks hard, calling out for Lainey. When no one answers, she uses her spare key and steps inside. Loud music fills the house. Polly rushes to her sister's room. Lainey and her husband are dead on the bed. Heart racing, she runs to Ally's room and finds her niece lifeless too. Polly breaks down, holding Ally in her arms and crying. She lays her back on the bed, goes downstairs, turns off the loud music, and falls to the floor, sobbing. Suddenly, Polly sees the box and the hourglass sitting in the room again. She grabs the box and throws it across the floor. Just then, the landline rings, and then every phone in the house starts ringing at once. Trembling, Polly picks up the call. It's Ally. In a cold, distant voice, Ally says, "You haven't finished yet." Crying, Polly shouts, "You killed them." Ally calmly replies, "No, Polly, you did. Now are you ready to play more?" Then she asks, "What do you love, Polly?" We see Polly slowly walking upstairs, holding a knife in her hand. Still on the call, she enters Ally's room. Ally's voice tells her to take Ally's nose or her eyes. Instead, Polly cuts a small lock of Ally's hair. Then Polly places the hair inside the box, whispering, "Something I love," and closes the lid. The call goes silent. When Polly opens the box again, the hair is gone. Suddenly, she hears footsteps. Lainey walks down the stairs, looking normal, asking when Polly arrived and if she's okay. Shocked, Polly rushes to Ally's room, relieved to see her niece alive. But her relief fades as dark spots begin to spread across Ally's face. Ally looks up and says softly, "Let's play, Aunt Polly." She grabs Polly's hands and vanishes. When Polly tries to run, Ally appears behind her, dragging her down, pinning her to the floor, and stabbing her. The scene cuts to Polly waking up at the dining table. In front of her sit the box and the hourglass, the sand already running. Exhausted and trembling, she whispers, "I gave you everything. Something I hate, something I need, something I love. What more do you want?" She opens the box, drops her ring inside, and closes it. When she opens it again, the ring is gone. The hourglass resets. Desperate, she takes off her chain and puts it in next. It vanishes too. Then she poured her blood into the box. Suddenly, a hand bursts out, grabs her arm, and tries to pull her in. Polly screams and manages to free herself. Crying, Polly begs, "Please, just let me go." Then, a realization hits her, the old woman who once knocked on her door. Then Polly remembers how the old woman gave her the box. She runs out, knocking on doors in the neighborhood, but no one answers. In the street, she cries for help until a light comes on in one house. A woman opens. Polly says she'd been dropping something off and that her sister's house is down the road. She forgot her key and got locked out. Desperate, Polly begs to come in for a moment to call her sister. The woman says her parents are at a work party, but reluctantly lets Polly use the phone. Inside, Polly sets the box down and pulls out the hourglass. The woman returns with tea and says her parents will be home soon. She asks about the box. Polly stares at her and asks, "Is your name Tara?" The woman is startled and asks how Polly knows. Polly only says she just knows. Polly lifts the hourglass and in a cold voice says, "I'm going to start now. This box belongs to you." Tara pleads for her to leave. Polly looks at her and declares, "You are going to die." Polly returns home, exhausted and broken. She sits by the fireplace, staring into the flames. Suddenly, the old woman appears behind her, the same one who gave her the box, holding it once again. The woman tells Polly that the box wants her to kill Polly. Then the woman lunges at her, trying to force her to obey. They struggle violently. In desperation, Polly grabs a knife and stabs the old woman. As the woman gasps for breath, Polly demands, "Why me?" The woman weakly replies, "Someone knocked on my door, and I just opened it. The box chose me. The one who has it can knock on any door. Even I could. It chooses people like us, the broken ones. I was so afraid of dying, and that's what it feeds on." She looks at Polly and whispers, "Don't be afraid to die." Then she dies. Voices of her mother, Ally, and father begin echoing through the house, whispering that she's going to die. Polly trembles in fear and says, "I won't do it anymore." She watches as the last grains of sand in the hourglass fall to the bottom. In the morning, we see Ally alive. Downstairs, Lainey notices Polly's clothes scattered on the floor and the living room in a mess. Polly wakes up in her own house, weak and confused. Her finger is still missing. When she steps outside, she sees her neighbor alive, the same one who had died before. Shocked, she rushes to her sister's house and finds Ally playing happily. Relieved, Polly hugs her tightly and tells her to let her mom know she'll be back soon. Polly then walks to the house where she had left the box the previous night. She knocks on the door and Tara opens it. Polly tells her, "You can't play anymore. Give me the box." Tara looks confused and says she doesn't know who Polly is. She explains that she and her parents just returned from a holiday. Not knowing what to think, Polly quietly leaves. As she walks away, her phone vibrates in her pocket, but she's too scared to look at it. The scene then cuts to Tara sitting on her couch. The wall in front of her is covered in blood with the words written across it. "Tell no one, trust no one, listen to no one. She lies." Tara's fingers are cut off and she looks lifeless, completely controlled by the box. She picks it up, puts something inside, and whispers, "Something you want." The camera pans to reveal her parents lying dead nearby. Tara's phone vibrates again, and the movie ends. And that wraps up Vicious. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell for more chilling movie stories. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.